That beautiful window, past that beautiful pool that Keith Kauffman swims 100, 150 laps a day out there in that. Just out over the trees is which racetrack?
Port Royal, right straight out the window. You can see the lake.
The Speed Palace.
Yes.
And you're out there pretty well most days, Keith.
Yeah, most days. Yep.
When your wife is
we're going over there today for a little while. You and Kathy are going to go out and run around. I'm going to go check the race.
What am I doing when I'm running around in town? Let's be honest. What am I trying to do? I know you're very humble and you don't like it, but
you tell.
I'm trying to get you a sign that says Mifflintown, the home of Keith Kauffman.
Yeah.
That's what it should say. This has been a 2-year crusade for me. This kitchen should say the home of Kathy Kauffman, Master Chef, because she's a phenomenal chef. Why do you still love sprint car racing so much, Keith?
I don't know. It just, when I was a little kid, it was something I always wanted to do because my dad took me to the races. And he was actually a board member at the Speedway.
Yep.
And I don't know, just fell in love with it, I guess. And now since I quit racing, well, I retired, so it gives me something to do during the day. So when we do projects at the racetrack, I go over and help. So
We were just talking about how you ran at Syracuse and Bristol.
Yeah.
But for Pennsylvania guys, you got such big tracks here that the speed wouldn't have been a shock to most PA guys, right?
Well, and you talk about big tracks, I'm just thinking years ago, back in the 80s, we used to go to Springfield, Illinois and run on the mile. I was driving Weiker's car back then.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a big block in the car. So I can remember we went there and they hit 225 lap races. And I think we led both race and ran out of fuel right at the end of the race because tanks weren't big enough. There's nothing we could do.
Now, we just looked at some vision from Ken Schrader's place and that gorgeous championship winning champ car.
Yep.
70-gallon tank or something like
75-gallon tanks, yep. Back in the 80s, early 80s, I ran the USAC deal. It was actually Rookie of the Year in, I think it was 82. So, and won a race at Nazareth on a mile.
What a cool place to win at.
Yeah. So
75 gallons of fuel sitting right behind you.
Yes.
Did anyone ever think about that?
Nah, not really. I mean, those cars, they were designed to run 100 laps on a mile track, without stopping. So that's why they had such big fuel tanks. So, and that was kind of neat, something different. Smaller motors, they weren't 410 motors. They were actually 355s, I believe.
Okay.
And they were fun to drive on the big tracks. Yeah.
Kathy is just as knowledgeable and just as passionate about sprint car racing as you are. Her retention of information is phenomenal.
Well, she's watched a lot of races.
And at least 2 times has been heavily pregnant, like about to have a baby the next day when you were racing.
Probably, yeah.
But that was the way that it was done, right?
Well, it's just what we did, I mean, race for a living for about 20 years, so you had to go to the races,
At what point did you realize this is going to be a job? Like when you went from being, weekly racing to...
It was a hobby to start with.
Yeah.
And I had owned my own cars for probably the first 10 years I raced and had some people help. And, of course, you learn more and you get faster. And, there wasn't anybody right in this area that could help us figure all this stuff out. We pushed the car around for a couple of weeks just trying to get the thing started. I wasn't that much of a mechanic, but we learned and, over the years and had my own car, like I said, and started winning some races and got noticed and, just it kind of went on from there. I worked construction during the week and one year I got laid off that summer. We built a high school and got done with that job in the spring, and we were going to get laid off. And I thought, well, I'll just take a layoff and go race for the summer. And I did it for like 20 years. Made enough money I could keep doing it. And then later on, when the kids got older, we started up a family. And when the kids got older and got to school, we used to take them with us all summer and travel around in a motorhome. And then when they got in school and started playing sports, later on, then I thought it was time to come home and start watching them play sports in high school. So I kind of quit the traveling deal and started some teams up back here and race local and got to watch the kids grow up and finish school and play sports. So
I meet a lot of Americans that have never been out of their own state very often. So for your kids to have that, and the Jacobs family is a good example, right? All those outlaws and all stars. Look out the window, kids. There's Mount Rushmore. Look out the window, kids. There's the Grand Canyon. Look out the window, kids. Like, you gave them a life experience as well, Keith.
Oh, we gave, we went to, the kids probably went to Disneyland and Disney World, one in Florida and one in California in the same year. But, they were probably 4 or 5 years old then. So that's before they even started going to school. We'd take them along all summer. And then, of course, once they had to start school, well, then we'd take them till school started. And then Kathy'd go back home and I'd go with a race car or whatever, wherever we were racing, and travel around with them. So I didn't really do a full outlaw schedule, but I was off and on over the years. So, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, traveling all over the country, meeting a lot of people. And
Yeah.
still have a lot of friends all over the country.
Do you watch racing much now?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, we watch it every weekend. Last weekend, we watched all the Eldora races. I have Flow and Dirt Vision, so, yeah. It's kind of nice now to sit at home and watch it.
Would you, I know it's an impracticality these days, but would you like to at least try a car in 2025 and feel how different they would be from when you did it?
Not really, no.
Not even just a couple laps on your own? Because they're a lot more effective now, you would say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but
Shock technology.
It'd be the same. You know what I mean? I don't think it would change that much, except, like you say, like the shocks are better, the cars are better, the motors are better, the tires are different, so. But it'd still be the same deal. You just step on the gas and turn left.
How good is Macri at the moment?
Oh, Macri's good, and he proved that last weekend. So, but he's always been exciting here at Port Royal. Very exciting, because I get a kick out of watching him because he bounces her off the fence, and he's really good at running Port Royal.
So such an unassuming young guy, like he's so quiet and he's not brash. He's not. Pennsylvanians tend to be fairly confident, in the way they go about things. They're a little outspoken.
Yeah, he's just become a very good racer. Some do and some don't, and he's just one that's really good. Yes.
The Pennsylvanian sprint car culture is phenomenal.
Well, and I think we have so much racing back here. I can remember back in the 70s and early 80s, mainly in the 70s when I owned my own car, we raced 3 times a week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'd run 120 races a year. So
starting in March, like you guys start earlier than anyone else, right?
We'd race Williams Grove Friday night, Port Royal Saturday night, and Susquehanna, which is BAPS now. We'd race that every Sunday night. So it was awful busy, but we were young, and that's what we wanted to do. So you just worked all the time,
How did the economy support that? I mean, it's not cheap to run sprint cars, but like you said, there's Lincoln as well. There's a bunch of other places
right.
as
Sealands
well.
Grove's close.
Lernerville and
Yeah, there's a lot of racetracks that are close back here, We could probably go to, I'll bet we could go to 6 or 8 racetracks within a couple hours. So that's why Pennsylvania, I think, is such a hotbed for sprint car racing,
The fans are the most intense fans I've ever seen right across the world.
Yeah.
Where does that come from, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, they've watched sprint car races. They've always been a hotbed for sprint car races, especially the fans. But they've got to see a lot of good sprint car racing over the years. Probably really good racing. More so than I'll bet any other place in the country over the years. So they're kind of spoiled, I think.
They're very parochial, very proud. Mm-hmm. The posse thing.
Oh yeah. And you get back to why they're so good. I can remember back in my heyday, probably in the 80s, when I drove the Hamilton car, like Williams Grove, you'd start 14th. If you were a high point man in the points for the weekly shows, well, you'd start, if you got qualified in the heat, you'd start 14th, 15th at the feature, and then had to win races from there. So the fans got to see pretty exciting racing.
There was so many iconic teams, like the Wycott team, the Hamilton team, the 461, the Walt Dyer car. There's just so many incredibly iconic teams here.
Yes.
You drove for a lot of them.
Oh yeah. Walt Dyer is probably the only one, the 461, that I did run his car one time at Syracuse. I was a guaranteed starter. Had won a race someplace, and I don't know what happened, but he didn't make the race, I guess. his driver didn't make the race, and I don't even remember who was driving. And I went over to Walton and I said, "Hey, it's $1,000 for the last spot. We go out and take a lap and pull in. I'll split the money with you." And he said, "Okay." So that was one of the few times I ever drove that car.
Did you do more than one lap?
Nope.
You did. You were true to your word.
Yeah.
You weren't tempted just a little bit.
Yeah. So that was kind of different, I thought, you know.
What was Syracuse like?
Well, it was a big, fast, flat mile track, hard to pass, single file, run around the bottom. It was a pretty tough racetrack.
Did you get a sense of the speed?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. It was fast. You know, I think Billy Pouch holds a record up there for something.
I think
like
you're right.
that.
There's another team, the Zemco team.
Yes, something like 140 some mile an hour average lap speed. You know, for a sprint car.
Big left rear tires, like
Yep.
big old left rears. Almost felt like almost at your left shoulder. They were that tall, you know.
And the cars years ago when they were heavier, they drove a little better.
Okay.
You know, they were more solid and didn't wiggle around as much. And then later on, about the end of that deal, when we quit going up there, the cars were lighter and had a lighter motor in them, and the cars, they just didn't drive good. It was hard to make them feel good.
The cars look great though. The nose cones they
Oh, yeah.
started to develop.
Yeah.
They started making more aero.
Yes.
What about Bristol? What was that like?
Well, and it was fast too, you know. We'd actually made a special wing for that because of the big high banks. You couldn't see through the wing to the guy next to you. So it was, we were used to the speed, but you had to be able to see. You know, if you couldn't see, it was, you didn't feel like racing very hard. So it was a different experience, yes.
How do you compare racing now to when you were racing? What's your feeling about the industry?
Well, I don't know. I still think it's thriving, you know, with the high limit World Outlaws on TV all the time. I think sprint car racing is going back up. You know, I think the attendance wise and people even watching it on TV, you know, it probably hurts the racetracks a little bit. But I think sprint car racing's good. Because look at the crowd at Eldora. I mean, it was huge, you know. They said they had 3,000 campers there, you know. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I think sprint car racing's doing real good.
Yeah. How much involvement do you have beyond, you know, you're out at, obviously at the Speed Palace as much as you can be, and do you sit on any boards or anything like that, or do you have much to say about things?
Well, yeah, I'm one of the directors at
Good.
the racetrack, so, and I get to put my 2 cents in every once in a while.
Well, I think that's good.
Yeah, I enjoy that. It gives me something to do, and like I said, I go over probably every day and at least do something, or we have a project or something. We're building a grandstand, or now we're putting an elevator in and adding more seats on the back of the grandstand. Going to build more suites, and so we've been working over there setting steel, and we do all kinds of stuff like that. So it gives me something to do, and I enjoy that kind of work.
When you meet someone and you say, "Oh, I used to race sprint cars," and they say, "What's that?" How do you put a sprint car into words, Keith?
Well, you don't get much of that around here. You know,
No.
everybody, there's so many sprint car tracks around here, they usually know what that is. But if they don't, we just try to get them to come and watch, you know, and see what they think of the sport. So, and usually they like it because it's pretty exciting.
The guy that lives down in Turn 1, the houses that live down in Turn 1.
Yeah.
Do you ever get people that end up on the clothesline over there?
Well, we've had tires sticking in the side of a house already, you know. I mean, there is some houses real close to the racetrack. In Knoxville's kind of the same.
Yes.
Maybe not houses, but the one street's right outside first and second turn. So they've had a little bit of that, I'm sure. Cars laying out in the road.
Yeah.
That's why that fence is so high.
Would you change anything, Keith, about your career and your time in sprint cars?
No, I'm perfectly satisfied. You know, I had a lot of fun. I love driving the cars, and you know, I got a little bored maybe years ago around here, and I'd take off and go out on the road a little bit and find some different tracks and drive a different car.
Get off the porch.
Yeah, get off.
Where
the porch.
did that start?
I don't know whoever started that, but that's a pretty good saying. I just enjoyed it. It was fun. It was something different, you know.
I miss not being able to see Lynn Paxton here. I drove past his shop on the way here to see you. And I remember the time he took me through the museum and how proud he was of every piece in that.
Oh, he's a great guy. You know, he not only a good driver, but just the history and the cars and the people. And he didn't forget anything. He could remember stuff like this race or that race and tell stories. He was a heck of a guy for the sport.
And to that end, I want to say Bruce Ellis.
Yes.
I never got to hear him announce much, but as a kid I read Open Wheel, and Bruce was one of the guys I used to love reading, and
Right.
he's such a pivotal part of Pennsylvanian sprint car culture as well,
Yeah, he was a good writer, especially in Open Wheel.
Yeah.
Wrote a lot of good stories, and then got into announcing and announced at Williamsgrove for I don't know how many years. And he just, I guess he just had enough, and it was time to quit and go on and do something else. I think he lost his wife, so and I'm sure that had a little bit to do with it.
Yeah.
But, he just gave her up just like everybody else does. Time to do something else, I guess.
I'm glad you haven't given up just yet.
I still enjoy to watch.
Between those 150 laps out by the pool every day and being Kathy's personal servant, you still love it, thank God.
Yeah, I still enjoy going to Port Royal. I did enough of the traveling deal, so going to all those big racetracks, and I did enough of that. It's fun just to sit at home and watch it on TV. Enjoy what I have here, so yes.